And I am back with a quick update on my 112 FP car. Cheers everyone. What's new with this? The body, first of all. This is my two-piece ultralight 112 body that I've designed specifically for the FP, although can be ran on other regular pancar. The wheelbase is pretty regular, the width is pretty normal. It's got this kind of futuristic front end with those parts that you can cut away or leave clear, like I've done over there, that follow all the way to the back of the wheel over there. So you get this nice aero front bumper, nice bubble in the middle. I call it a robo race because I got inspired by the no driver robo racer and the one that looks more like the LMP proto car, and then I mixed in kind of a little bit of the back of a traditional quote-unquote pan car, and so there's a little bit of everything I like. It is what it is. I'm really happy about the way it looks. It looks ace on the track, this thing. So as you can see, it is super narrow at the center and it is opening over there. There is a pretty straightforward rear wing. Overall, the aero balance is really good with this. I've switched from my Porsche from Tamiya to this, and so far between the BD design, the Tamiya, and this one for my FP, this is the body I like the most to drive. So as you can tell, it's a two-piece body which is attached over the cockpit over there and the sides. So one side slides under, the other one slides over. It's super light. It's 0.5 mm, so it's just really no weight. I don't know how many grams that is, but it's super light. But being PETG, it's much more resistant. It doesn't cracks as much as Lexan would, so that's a good thing. I got some pretty awesome little stickers all over the place, and so that's it for the body of my FP. And now for the chassis itself. What I've changed mostly now is the electronics. I'm still running it super shorty, perpendicular to the chassis, not in line, but I've changed to XE run and the just stock 17. I'm running 17 or 13, I can't remember. That's a 13.5 motor. I'm still using my Team Saxo rear axle. I've mounted the fan on the top here, so I just added a tiny spacer and then used directly the mounting between the upper plate and the pod. So this way I have a nice little cooling system on top. I'm using, of course, my ABS spacer over there, so there is virtually no amount of heat that transfers from the motor to the pods. And at any rate, this system, the X-Run, the Just Stock, stays really cool, so I'm pretty happy. I'm running the 17.5 on the track. The pod is just almost cold when I'm done running, and so that's the main change that I have done. The other substantial difference, of course, now is the dual damper tube that I have. So I've tried quite a few different setups for the rear, and so as you can see, if you have never seen this chassis before, there is no separation between the pods and the rest of the chassis. It's a single plate chassis, when the T-plate at the rear is actually relief cuts that are done into the chassis. So the T-plates, the chassis, and the cuts, all this design is actually what acts as a spring, both laterally and then for the up and down motion. So on the super bumpy track that I'm running next to my home, where I have to have really high ride height and so on, I'm actually running it with no dampers at all. I still can't figure out why, but it's just, I guess it's just so bumpy that the dampers don't even have time to suck in a bump, that there's already another one, and so it's just better jumping over it than trying to dampen it. But I have now set up the dampers this way, so this is something you can do from the stock settings with the dampers tube. Everything is there for you to do it. And so this way, because I tried to do the traditional center dampers and then both on the side, and it's just a lot of moving parts, and it doesn't really add much because I don't need to have a spring-loaded shock at the center because I already have my spring action that's sufficient from the chassis. So now I have this dual damper, and so I can have suck in the acceleration and the braking. I can have my up and down at the same time that I have my lateral dampening, and so that works extremely well at the moment. I've used all the existing holes from the upper plate of the pod, and I've just extended the battery holder over there with some little spacers. I could still play with the difference of height between here and there, but at the moment I have a very slight downslope from the back to the front, which seems to work pretty well. I have plenty of travel and it's really smooth. It just gives it a really good action, and it's just one less moving part to have only 2 dampers instead of a set of 3. And of course the limitations of this chassis is that you don't change the spring rates basically, because the spring rate is what the chassis is, so you have to work around that, and that's kind of the philosophy behind this pancar, is that it's a very simple setup and you can still do a lot of changes to it, but it still works from the same base. You can't make it a totally different car than what it is. And so now that I've played with this, the next step is going to be for me to do just more testing with the front settings. I'm running it, I would say, half stiff in the front. The O-rings are compressed but not too much. It's a bit stiffer in the front than in the rear. And I'm still running hard springs over there. Now I am yet to go drive it on a carpet track because end of the world being, they locked everything again, so the RC tracks are closed one more time. We had about 3 weeks of fun in the past 6 months, and now we are back into lockdown here in Hong Kong, so I have no idea when I'm gonna be able to do something else but just look at that car on the shelf. But at any rate, this is where I am with this chassis at the moment. I'm super pleased with the change in electronic. Speed of the 13.5 is way overkill. I should be running 21 or 17, but hey, it's me. And so yeah, that's it for now. Reminder everybody, because I had quite a lot of people interested in that chassis online. It is on my web store. I just I make it when I sell it, so if you're interested you can click on the back order and then I'll build a chassis for you. We can discuss how you want the original dampers to be settled. We can have a damper plate at the back, single damper plate over there with, you know, 2 plates squeezing each other. We can have a double tube like that. We can have a traditional 2 lateral tube and 1 at the center. Nothing at all works as well. Like I said before, this is, for me, that's my preference. And same in the front. We can discuss springs, spring tension, O-rings, or nothing at all, and make it just classic chassis, completely hard in the front. It can be as well completely locked over here if you run turnbuckles instead. So if you really want to run it as a classic chassis that has no suspension, no spring at all, no pivot point basically at the rear, you can lock the rear and just have the pivot in the front, and then you'll have a mini 1.8 classic chassis. And so this is available. Feel free to contact me. The pod is available as well, so this pod of course is the same for the trike 1.1. It is adaptable. It is the same dimensions if you want to put it on the old trike 1.0, and there is another version using a different upper plates that you can use for the F103, F103 GT and F104W from Tamiya. And the cool thing is that this being a design that is exactly identical left and right, you can mount it the other way around with RR motor at the back and shorten the wheelbase to the either this car, the Tamiya, or what have you. So it's a pretty cool base as well to do custom work. It comes with all the carbon parts. You can get it with the 112 adapters for the ride height, or the 110 adapters. What I mean is the bearing size for F1 basically, or 112 pancars, the two aluminum sides, the upper plate. So this is the upper plate for the trike or the FP, and there is a shorter upper plate for the Tamiya version. And then it comes with the ABS motor spacer over there. So that's it for that car. I'm gonna go back to doing a couple of reviews now that we are stuck again over here. I hope all of you guys are staying safe over there and that you're staying sane as well, because it's getting really a bit tiring, isn't it? So hope at least everybody's got some good projects going on with the RC cars and what have you, their model making things and building stuff. I'm waiting on quite a few parts to finish my mini classic, so once I have that, the mini classics are gonna jump on the web store as well. Go have a look at the web store. I've had quite a few new items. I have quite a few parts now available for 128 spare parts for the rear end especially. And yeah, so everyone, stay positive, drink a lot of sugar-free drinks, or drink a lot of sugar drinks and get diabetes. Who cares anymore? Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye bye everyone.